Welcome, fellow consumers of knowledge and fascinating topics. I'm Doku Dagger. Today, I'd like to share with you my perspective on why moving out of your hometown could quite possibly be the best choice you've ever made. A lot of people go most of their lives without moving out of their hometown, moving out of the county, or very few select people just get up and leave. Go to a different state, hell, different country. I definitely don't recommend going to a different country, especially if all you know is English. And if your perspective on things are one-sided, it doesn't really leave room for interpretation, right? So let me just speak about my experience and why I believe moving out of your hometown or state can vastly improve your way of life. So, for example, I work in low voltage, so anything to do with security cameras and anything to do with that. I don't want to go too far into specifics. There's a lot of weirdos out there. I'm included in that, but let's not talk about that. Now, I do want to continue saying that my perspective on this was like I was working with a small company at the time before I left, so I'm talking 2022. And just in general, the job market is extremely competitive. Like, I wanted to join the union, whether that was for the city of San Francisco or the areas around San Mateo. And the thing about that is it's just so damn competitive. Like, I remember, I think this was like 2021, and I put in an application to join their JATC program. The problem was, even if I went through the interview process, sat with a panel, talked their ears off, and we were all given, I'm pretty sure everyone who participated and got to the interview process was at least interviewed, and then based on how well you did, they'll give you a score from like 1 to 100. And I specifically, if I remember correctly, was like 93%, 94%. So for all intents and purposes, an A, right? I have never heard from them again. And like the amount of money I was making and how much like the cost of living, it felt like I was living under someone else's thumb. And it just felt like there was no room to grow, because buying anything, especially a home, was intangible. And then like you really want to get your money's worth, and some of these houses, they are not worth $500,000 or $1 million. They're just not. You just happen to live in a state where everybody wants to move to, and that's just like the sad reality behind that. At least from my perspective, right? And if it's way too competitive and you're basically having to work in something you didn't want to do in the first place, whether that's like, oh, well, it looks like I'll have to pick up some shifts at my closest department store or the mall nearby or Walmart or what have you. And like most of us, I imagine, did not attend college, get a degree, because we'd be promised a fast food or a retail job, right? And that's the thing, right? Experience is king, and being able to move out. So I moved over to Austin, Texas. And the benefit of moving here, I mean, besides the cost of living, when it came down to figuring out how we wanted to, thrive by ourselves. So I was just renting with my wife at the time. We were renting out of my parents' garage. And yeah, sure, we made it into a little studio and whatnot. But what's crazy is I was paying like $1,300 for that space, right? And I'm out here in Texas, not much bigger, but we're talking 700 square feet, a very big chunk of backyard. I'm also renting the front garage that's right in front of me. So in all, total of 14 is what I'll say. And then obviously utilities and stuff, they change, but just the cost of living. And then because I've had my experience in California, when I got over here, it was a bit easier to just kind of be that like I was able to differentiate myself among other applicants or anything like that. And eventually I did land a really good job now that is immensely helping me just to have a little bit of extra free time. Just to even do this, like I've always wanted to sit down, record, and just, share about stuff that I think would be useful. And here's the beautiful thing about speaking from my perspective is that I don't have the right answers. No. And if you listen to me word for word thinking, all right, he probably got the code, right? He's got the shit figured out. That's the wrong approach, my friend. Because variables and just how random the universe is, you never know. You absolutely never know. But I will say this. If you take a leap of faith, there's nothing you can't accomplish. And here's like the big kicker, right? If you really are struggling and you just feel like nothing seems to be going your way, moving to a different state, I think, is something extremely beneficial. So even if you live in like, the Midwestern or on the East Coast, I'm finding personally, like I've met a lot of people from the East and West Coast and from the Midwest living in Texas, and the one thing a lot of people here say is it's the freedom, like the financial freedom. Sure, you may not potentially be making about the same. Like if you're thinking about minimum wage, yeah, you're definitely not making the same as in some other, big cities or, blue states that are just like, have full of tech or banking or anything to do with information technology. Because most people, like, especially if you work remotely, why not buy a house in a different state? Why not live in it, pay it off for a couple of years, rent it, and then, move back to where you wanted to be at, whether that's New York, Florida, Virginia, Portland, you name it, wherever it is that you wanted to end up at. So just to kind of, I don't want to keep ranting for this entire video. I hope you've enjoyed what I've laid out. I do plan on making these videos a bit more fun and interactive, like better editing. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed seeing me open up some booster packs of One Piece cards. And yeah, thank you for your time. And if there's anything from this jumbled up mess that you can take away, is that take the time to think about your circumstances, think about what it is that you want for yourself, and think about the time and effort you're willing to sacrifice to achieve the things you want. Whether that's, partaking in smoking a little bit less weed, drinking a bit less, studying, whatever the case may be, whatever road leads you to be your better self, that's the path you should be taking. And if you get anything from any of what I've said in the last 8 minutes, it's this. Do what you want. Don't be apologetic. Be unforgiving in how you conduct yourself. Because you only get one life. And don't you dare tell me you're going to live vicariously through your kids or whatever. Okay? So take the time. Figure out what you need. And if you need to go on this quote-unquote anime time skip to get your shit together, to feel accomplished, to feel like you've done your own, I highly recommend going somewhere else. Doing your own thing. I'm not always going to say, hey, Texas is the place to be. There's tons of other beautiful states here in the United States. So there's no reason that you should ever feel limited. Although the news and everything just makes it intense to just, live life comfortably. There's so much information going around that you just have no idea who to believe. And that's the worst part of it, But at the end of the day, as long as you follow your gut, love the people around you, and do everything to the best of your ability, you'll only be having your head held up high because you've earned it. And that's personally why I think a person should be moving to, just get out of your home state. Get out of your home state. Get out of your hometown. Meet new people with different perspectives. Like, there are so many life experiences that you will probably never experience unless you speak to someone who has lived through something similar like that. Hell, there's some things that you would think, oh, well, that looks like it only comes from a movie. But sorry, and here I am ranting again. And if you've been here and you've been listening to me for this long, thank you so much. Please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell me why exactly you wouldn't move out of your hometown, or why you would move out of your hometown. What's the benefits you see yourself having? What's the detractors? I know I didn't go too deep in on that, but this is just kind of an introductory video, and I really just wanted to put something out there to introduce myself properly. So thank you for your time. This has been Doku Dagger, and I will catch you next time.